I'm such a contrast in personality to the fight world. So my first fight with 4-ounce gloves was a bit of a shock because you can't spar and fully get whacked in 4-ounce gloves. What really is amazing is just you're in the same room as all these top athletes and you're just like, wow, I'm in the same league as these guys. After a fight, it's a big rush, kind of like everyone's out the ring to get the next fight in. And then you sit in the back and it's like, what just happened? I can never remember anything about my fight. I think it's just the adrenaline rush. It's almost like you're thinking back as if you've just watched someone else's fight. And I don't really even watch my fights back. I watch them maybe twice and that's it. I don't know, it's like interviews. I never watch my interviews back because I just don't like, yeah, I'll watch this one. I watch it like once and then I'm like, I don't know if everyone else does or not, but just to watch back straight after the fight, I'm kind of, if I'm on a high from a win or a loss, I kind of just critique myself. When I look at it with a fresh head a couple of weeks later and think, actually, I wasn't so bad, or God, that was really good I've done, and I just take bits to learn for next time.
Being in one championship is such an accolade in itself. So what does it take to reach a platform like that and perform on the highest level?
I think you definitely need to sacrifice a lot. Like, I know it's everyone's choice whether they want to be a fighter or just come in and do fitness, but people don't see what it takes to be a fighter. It's the diet, it's the stress from it, it's coming into every single training session and giving it your best, because no one's going to want to coach you if you're coming in half-hearted all the time. So you've got to show heart, you've got to just throw yourself into it fully and show dedication.
Have there been times where you have doubted yourself, and how have you overcome that mentally?
I think everyone's got doubts sometimes. I mean, there's always people who are going to be challenges for you to fight, but I always think in my mind, they're not a robot. Like, everyone bleeds the same, everyone's trained the same as you. All you could do is respect them and think, right, it's all fair game. As long as you know that you've put all the work in you can, then obviously there will be doubts. It's a fight, there's always a winner and a loser, but as long as you go in and give it everything you've got.
It kind of just flows with me because I do so much bag work at home, but I try and think what I've learned and try and use my footwork coming back and forth. And yeah, just seeing what works for me as well. For this fight I'm working a lot of footwork, so I'll use the space around the bag, using my jab, moves. Yeah, you got to keep it realistic.
I'm such a contrast in personality to the fight world. I'm calm and don't like violence, but obviously it's a fight. So when you go in, I think it's the challenge of, right, I'm going to do this 8 weeks solidly in my head, and I want to be the best at what I am doing, and that's what drives me, as opposed to, oh, I can't wait to knock someone out. Like, I want to show my skill and just prove to myself that I can get through the mental and physical side of being a fighter. I'm one of them who bottle up emotions until the very end, but I just feel like everyone deals with anxiety or stress or nerves different, and I normally have a bit of a cry before I go out, but that's like a release, like, right, you've done that, clear mind, just go for it. And that's like every time, I'm sure, because I've had a few breaks in between here and there. Just the more I build up, the more I keep getting in, the easier it will get. I know it will, but I think nerves are a good thing. Everyone underestimates nerves, and yeah, it's just, you need them. No one goes into a fight 100%. That's just the way it is. You're training so hard, your immune system gets weak, you're tired, you're stressed. So just to have that mindset of, right, I'm feeling rubbish, I'm still going in the gym, they are the best sessions to have. And the whole mental aspect, as you've dragged yourself in and you've still got on and done it when you felt really low, that's the sessions what count, and you do feel so much better after. I guess just digging deep with myself, thinking, right, I've got to go in, I've got to do this. That's where I've kind of got my mindset from. And also, you just know how you feel. If you miss a session, you know you feel worse, and it'll play on your mind all night. Oh, why didn't I just spend 1 hour training? So it's worth it. I try and think after my training sessions what worked well, what do I need to remember, what do I try and think about my session after I've done it, because it takes a while for things to sink in with me. So I guess I don't try and dwell on how I'm feeling at that time. Obviously, you train really hard through the week, you're going to have a bad session, but I try not to think of it as a bad session. I've done it, it was bad, so that means the next one will be better.
What do you think that One Championship's doing for the sport at the moment?
I think it's made the Muay Thai community come together a lot more, because before there's so many different shows everywhere, but for them to bring so many Brits into One Championship, it makes it a bit more real for the UK as well, and it just shows you can get far from coming out of the UK, even around the world, and fighting on such a big event, and with 4-ounce gloves as well, just to make it an exciting sport. It's kind of like reborn.
How do you find the 4-ounce gloves?
So my first fight with 4-ounce gloves was a bit of a shock, because you can't spar and fully get whacked in 4-ounce gloves. So yeah, I mean, you take a punch, but you can give one just as hard. So that is exciting. I prefer it. You get faster hands, there's more openings, and I just think it's more exciting.
4-ounce gloves, you're quite limited to training in them because they start scuffing up your hands. I normally use like little bag mitts where I can, because it's smaller, you get your distance right. Sparring, I use MMA padded gloves. It's definitely a change. You have to keep your hands open, and with big gloves you can kind of come here and still be covered, whereas these ones you've got to get them right back on your head, constantly moving, so many little gaps you've got to watch out for. I do train still in 12-ounce gloves, but every so often I'll change to these ones, my bag mitts, and yeah, you can feel the weight's being lifted off your shoulders, get so much faster. Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
So when I got the call from One, my manager at the time didn't really explain. He's Dutch, so he kind of said, do you fancy one and then a number? And I was like, what is he on about? I don't know. So I asked him, and he said, One Championship, this would be your purse. What do you think? Of course, that would be amazing. I was the first female Brit to be signed. I think I was the youngest athlete at the time. I was only just turned 19. So for me to get that offer was like unreal. It didn't sink in. I mean, I was at work, I was at my care job when I got the text through saying, you know, it's just so casual, as if like, oh, how do you feel about this? And like, that's a dream come true.
So talk to me about the fight week in One Championship, typical fight week, because you're away from home, there's a lot more media and things like that. Can you just talk me through what a typical fight week looks like?
Yeah, so it's kind of all go. As soon as you get there, you have a schedule sent through, lots of photo shoots, lots of interviews, different places, different times you have to be ready. But it's hard because obviously you're weight cutting during that time. And your social battery is quite drained, but you're meeting all these new people. But what really is amazing is just you're in the same room as all these top athletes, and you're just like, wow, I'm in the same league as these guys. And just watching how nice everyone is, everyone's so humble, everyone's really chilled out for a fight week. So it kind of puts you more on ease. Definitely in fight camp, you got a lot of ups and downs. Everyone does hard days. And I feel like when I don't have a fight, that's when I kind of get down. You know, I don't have a focus, don't have a goal. It's hard when you're going from such a strict diet, strict training regime to nothing. So I try and keep in the gym, I try and teach and keep around the sport just for my mental well-being.
What are you trying to achieve in this sport?
So I feel like I want to do the best I can, so that would be getting for One Championship belt, and it's not that far away. I mean, my next fight, Jackie, she's just fought for belts, so if I win this one, I'm sure I'm going to be up for one of the names to compete for it. So That would be my dream come true, but just in a bigger picture, to promote female athletes in the sport, to keep the name running through my family as, you know, fighting family, and just to prove to myself like I can keep myself fit and healthy. It's a lifestyle that I love, and it's an amazing sport to be a part of.